So welcome back. No, oh yeah, the voice is there. Okay, nice. So we come to the last panel for today, and it means exploring blockchain marketing landscape. And my last moderator on the stage here, he's analyst at large VentureBeat. A big and a warm applause for Stuart Roger. Stuart, welcome.
Hey, hey. Thank you so much. It's good to see you. Thank you so much. Oh, it's amazing to be here. Thank you for lasting this long. I am acutely aware that I am the man standing between you and cocktails right now, so we're going to try and make this as interesting as is humanly possible. What we'd like to do is bring out all of our experts on stage. I'm the kind of moderator that likes everyone to tell you who they are and what their interest in this particular topic is. So rather than introducing them and explaining who I think they are, we're going to have all of our panelists join us on stage now, and we'll let them introduce themselves. We're going to be talking about blockchain marketing landscape. What does that mean? It could mean blockchain technology-driven solutions that help you to market your products and services and startups, or it could mean marketing for blockchain projects themselves. We're going to start with marketing for blockchain projects. We're going to go down that route to begin with, and then we'll take it forward from there, and we'll have a look at some of the marketing technologies that are actually helping us to get our products and services and our blockchain startups out to the world. So let's have all of our wonderful experts join us on stage. Big round of applause, please.
No, sorry.
I know there is more than one mic'd up, so we're going to come on, yes, there we go. More applause, more applause. Fantastic. Take a seat.
Okay, like this.
Before we get properly started, just want to, if you don't mind me indulging, you might have looked in your paper programs and seen that the moderator for this particular session was going to be Sarah Austin, and you can clearly see that I am not Sarah. I wanted to just explain the reason why Sarah isn't here. She's currently in Los Angeles, and I would just like to say that the reason she's there is because we lost a good friend, Jason Crilly, who some of you may know Jason. He was CEO and co-founder at Butterfly, which is actually, strangely enough, a marketing technology. It's an influencer platform on the blockchain. And Jason is now no longer with us. He passed away, unfortunately, very young. I would like to just, for a few seconds, if you'd like to give Mr. Jason Crilly a round of applause, please. So, wonderful panel. It is your chance to shine. 30 seconds, tell people who you are, who you're with, and what is your interest in blockchain marketing, please.
Great. So I'm Kanawa Yusinko. I'm the founder and marketing partner for Uniquely Wired. We basically are an agency that helps startups and ICOs help them basically get clarity in their identity and what is it that they're passionate about in terms of what ICO they're wanting to take to market, and how does that translate therefore then to their brand identity, to their website, to their white paper, to their marketing material, a video explainer, and then eventually PR and marketing. But it's really about helping them get clarity in their identity, what makes them unique in relation to all the other ICOs in the market, and once they've got that, then it's a lot easier to help them market their product.
Super, thank you.
Hello, I'm Jordan Delagno. I'm CMO of Atayen, and we are launching our ICO, which is an ICO about marketing. Oh, sorry, I'm lost. I need to get back to it. So, okay, it's your turn.
Okay, my name is Chris Oberrieder. I'm CMO of TV2 right now. It's a smart TV application, and before that I did advise various ICOs and was CMO of various. And now basically the marketing technology for me is really interesting in terms of like how to market an ICO, and that's my main interest there. Yeah, maybe now.
Hello, my name is Gauthier Boas. I'm CEO of Atayen, that speak Jordan Delagno, and we make third-party application for Facebook to help promote Facebook page. And now we are running an ICO token to help marketers to find a publisher and running ad on internet. Thank you.
What's up, guys? My name's Amir Rosic. I'm a serial tech entrepreneur. I've been in the marketing space for 10 years, growth hacker, e-commerce. I run BlockGeeks, co-founder of BlockGeeks. We're the world's biggest online trainer of blockchain developers, also investor. And my interest in marketing is, I think everyone's doing it wrong.
Excellent. We'd like to start with a controversial point. So you're going to be the Simon Cowell of the panel, right? Excellent. Good, good. It's good that you're furthest away from me. It takes me longer to get to you. So let's start the story. I mean, we actually are in a very interesting place when it comes to marketing ICOs or just blockchain projects in general right now in 2018. Everything has changed in the last year. We're not allowed to advertise on Facebook, on Twitter, on Google. Even MailChimp has said that you can't use their service for this purpose. Now, you know, that leads a lot of people, I think, maybe in the audience here, to ask the question, what on earth do we do and how do we get started? I mean, what are some of the things that still work and what should people be aiming towards? What should be the goal for ICO marketing?
I always start with the foundations because at the end of the day, the marketing part is really the end kind of game in terms of communications. But you've really got to start with the foundations, which is making sure, again, you've got very clear messaging. So making sure your proposition, you're very clear on how that solves a particular problem, what value it adds. And to your point, you know, it's not just about raising cash. And I think we talked about some of those discussions at the back. It's not just about raising cash and doing an IPO. It's really got to make some change in the world in a positive way. It's got to solve a particular problem. The technology's got to be very strong. There's got to be a robust business plan. So those are the things that are foundations before you kind of think about what communication channels you've got. Because once you've got the foundations done, then you've got a story in terms of what your actual proposition is to market. And once you've got that story, then it's very natural on how you actually then sell that. So then you can become creative and find out where your community's based, where the events are relevant for you, once you've got that story and proposition, and then you can then take that to market from there.
Some people might suggest that the words robust business plan and blockchain project are, you know, interesting bedfellows. You know, how realistic is that?
Well, yeah, you know, it's one of those things where I don't know if anybody watched the main stage talk. I think it was Professor David. He talked about basically community, and it's beyond just building a kind of business. It's actually seeing how you can serve and help community solve a problem, because technology innovates, and we've kind of had. We're all of the age that we've enjoyed the experience of technology. We all have mobile phones, we now all have social media, but it's now really enabling how can it make people's lives better. And if you can solve that, then that becomes useful. Then the business flourishes as a result of that. So that is what really makes a good, robust business plan. It's really, is it solving something that actually is going to add value into people's lives? Is it going to add value in terms of other businesses, for example? Is it going to streamline their processes? Is it going to make it efficient? Is it going to help them get more customers? Those are the kind of core things. So it's the foundations and the fundamentals rather than, as you say, absolutely right, the keywords and the buzzwords of these things.
Excellent. So the breaking news there is don't make a product like Juicero. Sure. What's your view?
So yeah, I'm the CMO. So I'm Jordan. I'm CMO of Atayen. I'm going to go back because I need to introduce myself. So I take care of the marketing right now, and we just started the ICO when everything started to come down, like MailChimp and Google, and all that happened at the same time 2 months ago. So we're trying to be original, but it's tough. So right now we really have to focus on listing and community. Like you said, community is very important, but first you have to be known. So the main thing is listing. So
tell us more about that, because people here might be just at the start of their journey. They don't know what's involved in listing and what that does for them and what kind of results they can expect. Tell us more about that.
Well, right now we're only listed on because you need to pay first to be listed. So that's an issue, but I mean, everybody will be doing an ICO if it was free. So, I mean, it takes a lot. And what was the question? I'm sorry, I lost it.
So, what's the benefit of it? What are they getting from?
Well, that just brings audience to us. It brings to the world, and people. I mean, they trust listing depending on which list it is. So. I mean, it helps a lot. If you have bad grades, nobody will come to your page. So I think right now you have to have above 4 or 5 on different things, otherwise nobody invests in your ICO.
Tell us about some of the first steps from your point of view. And just touching on that point as well, how important is trust in all of this as far as building the community is concerned?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I agree on the community part for sure. I think community is like one of the main things there. And that question to revamp that, like even prohibiting like Facebook, Google and all of that, the crypto community is quite creative, so they will always find ways around it. And it's hard to like prohibit it. Like you've seen that with regulation, people are trying to, like countries are fighting against crypto and everyone is trying to fight against it. But the community is quite creative and they will find their ways around it. And one of those ways is, for example, Telegram, building your own community. And once you have your own community, no one can take that from you, or it's hard to take it from you. So I think like you can ban many things, but like the crypto community will stay creative and will always find ways to reach people. And like taking away Google, Facebook, YouTube is taking away the opportunity to reach people, but people are really creative and they reach people other ways than they like PR and different tactics. So I think that's good about the crypto community. It's evolving and it doesn't sleep, so it changes. People are active all the time and the community finds ways to market ICOs. Yeah.
How much effort then do you have to put into understanding all of those changes all of the time? What kind of resource do you need to stay on top of all of this? Because if it's moving that fast, you surely need to have somebody dedicated to that task, right?
Yes, like you have to be always open for new techniques and basically stay up to date all the time, because if you focus on, like, let's say Facebook ads and then they get banned, then you lose your main channel, and then it's for your ICO you have a hard time then. So it's good to split your efforts. Don't do everything in one bucket. Split it, try different things, and always stay, like every time, try new things. Don't focus on only one tactic. I think that's one key learning that I had. When I lost one channel, I needed a different channel really fast, and I think that's really important. And yeah, you never know what happens tomorrow. Maybe it's banned and there can't be any ads, you can't use any influencers, and like you never know what happens next, so you have to be quite open.
And Chad, on that point, it's kind of knowing your customer as well, because if you know your customer and your product and what it's looking to solve, then you'll understand them. So for example, what's that customer user journey, for example? So if you're marketing a product which is relating to cars, for example, then you kind of look at all the associated things that that individual could do, whether it's going to a garage, whether that's a warrant of fitness, whether it's, you know, tires, and then you might form partnerships with other car dealers. That's terrible example, but do you know what I mean? If you know your customer, then you can start planning the communication channels and how you can be innovative, who you can partner with, what kind of groups do they associate with, and that naturally, as you say, forms kind of your kind of communication strategy or your go-to-market plan. But you let your understanding of your customer dictate what it is, rather than have a one standard size fits all, because it might not always get the people you actually want to speak to. So
that sounds strangely like traditional marketing that's been around for well over 100 years. Coincidentally, so have I. So what's different about blockchain marketing, or is there nothing different about blockchain marketing? Is it just traditional marketing dressed up in new clothes? Tell us more about that.
It's for me. Can you repeat the question a little bit slowly?
What's new?
I come from France.
What's new? Is blockchain marketing different, or is it just traditional marketing?
Yes, for me it's different. When we run application for Facebook, I can run ads on Facebook, I can run ads on Google, and now everything is forbidden for blockchain marketing. So we have to think different, think more clever. Like you said, you have to do PR marketing, but now when you send a press release, people are feared to speak about maybe an ICO, so you have to be big enough, like Telegram, and when you run an ICO, everybody speaks about you. So at the beginning, I think you have to do some of grow hacking to find the community, get 1, 2 results, like a video on YouTube, and maybe after, the best part is to answer to everybody. Like you said, you have a community, you have to make a special, how to say that, I'm sorry, a special relation with everybody to understand very well your community and answer to their problem. because there is an anxiety around the blockchain, and you have to cut, we say that in French, I don't know in English, you have to cut the grass before there is a problem in your garden. So every time there is a comment, a bad comment, you have to be gentle with everybody, try to find why they fear, and to make an answer. And once you get the confidence, it's better. And it's in marketing, when there is one people that is happy, there is 3 people that speak. When there is 1 people that is not happy, he will speak to 10 people. So I think it's this relation that we need to have when we work in the blockchain marketing. It's to make confidence with your customers. And after making grow hacking, because you don't have the Facebook channel, the press release is difficult to obtain because the press don't want to promote the scam. And it's not that we are a scam or something, but they are feared to do that. And after, I don't know what I said because it was in English, but I try to do my best. So it's the point what I think. So building confidence with the community and speak with them. Sometimes they are very difficult. They can insult you and everything. So you have to take by your side and just understand what's the anxiety and directly respond to that.
So it sounds very much like traditional marketing, but with different channels, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you know, that's marketing in general. We started out with 5 channels back in the day, and we have well over 3,000 now. What can people here take on board in terms of the first things that they should be doing from a marketing standpoint? And where does people get started? Maybe you can take that.
Yeah, so I'll start off with this. If your ICO needs marketing, you're doomed to fail. I'm going to just point it out that way. All the great teams I've been part of, I won't name the teams, you've never heard of them. They've never done a public ICO because the team is legit. The number one thing in the space, like any space, whether it's AI, whether it's automation, is human capital. It's actual people that understand the technology, right? So you have 2 layers over here. You have protocol layer, and then you got 99% of the rest of the people building dApps. I put them in quotation because they're not really dApps. And so you as, let's say, a new ICO or new protocol, whatever layer you're at, it's of utmost importance that you first focus on creating a real product and having the best dream team possible. The projects that have raised the most in this space, they've never gone knocking on doors, ever. I'll repeat that again. They haven't gone knocking on doors. The best investors in the world, the best talent come knocking on their doors to be part of that. And the cost alone, just investing, the cost alone just in marketing an ICO is ridiculous. Legal fees, right? Marketing fees, all this stuff. What we're talking about traditional investing, and I come from the angel side, is like, why, pardon my French, but why the fuck do you need $10 million for a startup? Why do you need $10 million? Vitalik, he had a good paper called the DICO, or Interactive Coin Offering, is like, why can't you just raise $500,000, prove your product to the marketplace, get your community in there, then go do another round? Why on God's earth do you need $10 million? In my humble opinion, most of these tokens will go down to 0. So, like, if you are looking to create something wonderful and beautiful, just get the best team around you, get the best technology, solve a key problem as you're mentioning earlier. Don't raise $10 million, raise $500,000, prove a product, get product market fit, then expand from it. Nothing has changed, nothing. We've gone the opposite, all the hard work, everyone's skipping that, raising $40 million and no one's shipping. You look at the ICO prices, at the ICO date it's X and now it's Y, 68% drop, total market. So if we're looking, if we're looking to solve problems, this isn't solving problems, right? And so we got to look at Occam Razor. What is the shortest line between A and B? And the shortest line is finding that product market fit as soon as possible, and everything else fits into place.
And I'm really glad you said that, because from a journalist standpoint, I get 100 pitches a day. At the moment, about 50% of those are blockchain technologies. How do I work out which ones are the scams, which ones are vaporware, which ones are actually real? I'm looking for MVPs all the time. I'm looking for somebody who's actually built something.
This is where token registries will come into play in the next year or two. We have a bunch of projects. Ryan formerly worked with CoinDesk, I think, one of the former co-founders as well. He's running Masari. It's a really good syndication. It's going to be a token registry soon. So I think within the next year or two, we're going to have crowdsourced token registries where you're going to see a crowdsource of people all around the world, different experts, experts in protocol layers, experts in data development, experts in investing, experts in marketing coming together and crowdsourcing legitimate data of is this company, I won't even call it an ICO, is this company legit to even talk to them?
Until that comes along, you know, putting a great team together is one thing, but putting a great team together and having them in a vacuum is no use at all. You've still got to tell people you've got a great team.
Sure.
And convince them of that.
Sure.
Yeah. How do we do that? I mean, you know, what's your sense of building that trust and actually getting that out to the market? Because you still got to tell everybody about something, otherwise you're in a vacuum, you're in a bubble.
Absolutely. Yeah, and actually, you know, to bridge kind of your point before, you know, what has changed. I think the thing that has changed in terms of ICO and blockchain marketing is there's a lot more transparency. So the more genuine you actually are in terms of both your product, your process, and your people, the more credibility you'll learn, the more actually people will buy into your journey genuinely. But also, more importantly, you'll build more trust in the communities that you're actually forming, and that will actually get people more invested in you. So I think it's actually, there's two things that have changed. One is the transparency. If you can bring transparency into play, you can talk about your teams, you can be very open in terms of, we have even ICO and bounty campaigns where they open up the bug fixing and give people tokens for fixing bugs or identifying bugs. And that's, I suppose, slightly different in terms of the traditional marketing. We actually involve the people you're trying to solve the problem for into your community, get them involved in the process, then they're much more bought in.
That's so needed.
And
Sorry
be
to
part
interject. 46% of smart contracts are vulnerable. 46%. It's a joke how badly they're shipped. I'm so glad you brought up the bounties. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and the other thing that's changed as well with ICO marketing is actually, again, getting your customers involved. So yes, you do have to have, I still believe that you do have to have the foundations of traditional marketing, because that is still the core and that doesn't change. How you interact with your customers has slightly changed. It's gotten a lot more viral, it's gotten a lot more referral, it's gotten a lot more community-based, network-based. So you're going from, you know, one kind of key influencer within that community group, and then they spread, and you reward that. There's a lot more, because what the blockchain enables is being able to have that transparency and visibility. So therefore, you can actually reward one person who then refers a couple of people, and you can all track that now in a blockchain, which is what the technology allows, which is a very interesting and fascinating space that we're now entering into marketing, because it means it's not just a marketing team or an agency that you hire. You've now got your customers also doing the marketing for you on your behalf, and you can reward them, and you can make that transparent and visible, and that's where you get real success then.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you bring up. I mean, back in the start of mobile games, for example, everyone was using CPI. They were just flooding as much money into the system as possible to get as many people as possible to come and install their apps. Of course, the problem with that is you're not buying very high-value users. They're uninstalling the app within 7 minutes on average, and that's the ultimate unsubscribe, right? So we all discovered that if we spend a little bit more money per person, we get high-quality people that will actually take actions and actually, you know, register inside our app and stay in there and use it again and again. And they'll then they'll tell 10 people about it because they're fans, and they'll get people in organically. And in fact, now mobile apps are 75% organic acquisition. So, you know, how do we build that kind of mechanism? You know, given that we can't do Facebook and Google and Twitter and everything else, how do we get people that are high value to come into our blockchain project so that they'll tell all their friends about it?
First, I want to go back to what you were saying about why raising that much money. So you have a lot of competitors. So if you don't raise enough money, who are you going to hire? Because everybody has money. Like you said, the money has been thrown with everybody.
Money doesn't attract talent. Culture and ethos attracts talent. Money never attracts talent.
Well, I mean, there is a limit. Like you said, you don't need 50 million, but 5, 10, that's something that you need.
Yeah, but that's also a trend that we're seeing now. The hard caps are getting smaller, of course. And I think, like there, with that 50 million again, that's good points from you, Amir. I really agree with that. Like we have different opinions about some things, but in general, like also for journalists, like Stuart, I think it's hard. Like it's interesting because they're like the ICO space is used to buy articles and things like that. So a lot of things are bought. Like a lot is bought, kind of, and that's.
But what are the choice you have? That's, I mean,
well,
you have to buy it.
Well,
what
yeah,
else
yeah,
is
like-
available?
the choice
Yeah,
you
makes
have
sense,
is to
but
have
I-
some actual
I
hard
mean,
news and talk to real journalists.
mailbox
but,
is
you know.
full of
that's,
people.
yeah, I think the story is often lost because people, like in the ICO space, you have to buy a lot. And it would be better if it's not so flooded with cash, so people are not used to buy everything. So like articles or something, I feel like should still be more based on story and team and everything, less on like how much, who you pay, like you pay like 2 Ether for that and 2 Ether for that. Like money, the ecosystem is used that so much money is coming in and then it's going into the ecosystem, back into the ecosystem. And that's, I think, a problem, yeah. But that's yeah, that's, I think.
What's the number one purpose of any business is user acquisition, right? You want users on a daily basis. Okay, I'm going to ask this question. How many of you here have put some money in some ICO? Just raise your hand. All right, we got like 30% of the audience. Now be honest with me. How many of you actually use a token for that purpose on a daily basis? You wake up like, yes, I'm using this. Nobody. There you go. Yeah. So even the people who are investing in your ICO that you claim to be your users, they're not your users. They're speculators. It's a big difference, massive difference.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit like when we used to launch products on beta list. You remember that? You know, you'd put your listing up on beta list and you'd get flooded with 5,000 people who were going to test your product. They weren't. They just wanted the product for free.
Of course.
They actually gave you zero feedback. You'd have 5,000 users and nothing to base a hypothesis on to pivot your product to make it right for them because you couldn't get any feedback from them.
I have to answer to him. Okay, so nobody investor used the token for the purpose it was defined for. I'm okay with that. So you say you need a token to be used by the investor. But people that buy the token right now...
It doesn't have to be used by the investor. I'm talking about
yes,
used by the actual users.
by the end user. So now we are in the situation, early stage of the ICO, early stage of the token utility, and to bring a community that will use your token, it will take time. For company to understand that they want to use cryptocurrency for the purpose, for the marketing purpose, or for the reservation purpose, or for anything. So at this step, the participants are buyers that expect that the token will grow in the future, that will take a part of the market. So now, me, I have a good team. We have projects, live projects on Facebook, and we bring 1 million users that use our Facebook page that represents 4 million page, and I have a lot of difficulty to bring the same amount of users on our platform. We make a little wallet. It's like a PayPal. There is no graph. It's proof wallet. You can send cryptocurrency just by an email, and the guy that received don't need to have Ethereum wallet at this point. So it's very jet-proof. We delete a lot of points, a lot of steps. So you subscribe just with Facebook. You can make a transaction in one click. But easiest as it is, we are so early stage that it can grow up like a buzz, you know. So we have to wait. So you can have a good team, and I think it's one point, but you need also money to bring the cryptocurrency to the masses. So it's something you need, a good team, a good project, but you also need clever to make the best marketing, and you need money because everything costs a lot in cryptocurrency. You want to be at an event, it costs a lot. You want to get PR, it costs a lot. And everybody knows there is a lot of money, so they higher the price, and there is a lot of people that have money, so they pay a lot, and so you need a lot of money. And you need also a lot of money because of regulation. You speak about the legal, but tomorrow if there is a regulation and you need a license for each country, for each state, in the United States, you will need maybe 20 million, maybe 50 million, maybe 100 million to get the license to work. It's like...
But don't you see the problem there?
Yes, it's like when there is a gambling. When there is a gambling, there is no regulation, and everybody make a poker room, a blackjack room, and it was you take the money and there is no problem. And once the regulation come, I know in France you have to pay 5 million or 10 million just to have the license to operate in the country. So I think ICO need money because we don't know what happen next. We know that the new area is the area of the blockchain, but the area of the blockchain is like cloudy. So get money, it's to be sure that you have an insurance for what happens next. Sorry for my English. I'm French.
I think that's also a problem of the ICO space, that like listings, for example, just an example, like a Binance KuCoin listing, like the whole space is used to getting so much cash, and I think 2017 was the year that we've seen like these huge ICOs. They will probably, it will get less and it will be more security tokens. Security tokens will come way more, probably more dApps and less, like there's many problems of course in this space that are trying to be fixed now, like transaction costs, Ether, and like many people are questioning those.
Well, even I didn't want to get into, but scaling, like you guys realize you at least need 3 years to scale. So anything that you build on top of any platform, you can name the platforms, whether it's EOS, Ethereum, Rootstock on Bitcoin, Cosmos coming out, or Polkadot coming out. They're all still theoretical. And so you're building your platforms using their token frameworks. You're at the mercy of the protocol, by the way. This years. So it's like, okay, let's say we do have a token, and hypothetically it does make sense, and hypothetically there is a business model. Most business models for tokens is a Ponzi scheme because you need more people to buy in the token. There's actually no economics for it. But let's say everything is working properly. It's like, great, we can only have 100 users a second.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, just as a counterpoint to what you're saying, because I want to just wrap this bit up, it's not quite on topic, but I'm quite keen to understand your point of view on this. Is the reason that all those people who held their hands up and then put them down, is the reason they're speculating and holding onto those coins and using them for basically investment purposes, because the product hasn't been developed yet and they can't use them for actual utility?
Nothing's been shipped. There's very rare companies that ship in this space.
Right.
Yeah, now it's time to ship. Now it's time to ship. Like they raised a lot and now they have to ship.
No one's shipping, man. I deal with developers. Our company trains developers 24/7. That's what we do.
It's not that they don't want to be users, it's just they can't be users right now. Right?
I would say 50-50. I would say majority, psychologically speaking, invested for the sheer fact of speculation. It's not like, oh, wait a second, I can get a 10x on that, but I'm going to use that on a day-to-day basis as well. It's like, no, they're going to get a 10x, so you're going to have a probably maybe like velocity of 10 or velocity of 15 of money exiting that ecosystem. Velocity is going to be a big issue, right? There's no purpose for them to hold your token. So they've arbitraged, say 10x, whatever, on your token, and they exit right away for more stable currencies such as Monero, Ether, Bitcoin, or whatever, Zcash. But no, they're in there to make money. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, but Amir, also on that, like if they think that the token value will go up, of course, like that, you see that with Ether, Bitcoin, all of them, like people don't use them. Like in restaurants, they don't, like if you go into a Bitcoin restaurant and ask them how many people are spending Bitcoin every day,
no one spends
people
it.
don't use it because people think it will be worth more. So like that's basically restricting the use case. Because
cryptocurrencies aren't used today.
Yeah.
Except Monero.
Like Monero's like you can use Tether, for example. It's always the same value. You can just use it. Like Tether is something you use because you know the value is the same, but everyone, of course, is hoping for the upside. So you use your fiat because you think your crypto will go up. So that's also restricting the use case, of course. It sounds really terrible if you says like no one is using it, but people are hoping for gains, of course.
They're hoarding it. They're hoarding it.
All right, so let's bring it back to marketing, because this is a marketing panel, all right? Just FYI. So look, it sounds like if we're going to go forward, we've got to think of some really interesting ways to acquire users. That is the most important thing. If we're advocating for less money in the ecosystem, then we've got to find really interesting free ways to get people to come and play around with our product and actually be users and not just invest. So, you know, very quickly, so we can leave a little bit of time for questions, because I'm sure there are some from this wonderful audience. That was a prompt to think of your questions, by the way. So, very quickly, what is the number one thing in your mind that people can do that won't cost them anything, or it's going to at least be cheap, that is going to help them with user acquisition right now?
Get them involved in terms of refining, defining, communicating, spreading your product. If you get your users involved, they'll become your marketing team, but they'll also help you refine your product well. They'll give you feedback, what works, what not, and therefore you're also being economical in terms of your build, but therefore they actually feel involved, as I mentioned before. They feel involved with your product, then they can take it forward, and then they'll invite people because they're already invested in it. So get them involved.
What's your tip?
To have a good project. I mean, if you have a good project, it will come naturally, people. Otherwise, if your project is not good, you need a lot of money. But if your project is good, I mean, we've been seeing people coming to us and being in the community, and we didn't have to pay them. So it's about the project, and like you said, the project, the team, and everything. But a tip to need money a little bit.
So just shout with a big megaphone from the roof. Got it. Next.
Yeah, I guess I agree, definitely. Like, it's kind of like going back into the days. It's like back to the roots, building your MVP. It's like what you learn in business school, like build your MVP, build it for the people, build it with them. But then I think right now, like, the space is adjusting, so smaller rounds and all of that, it's adjusting. People will have to do more themselves, so it's community building. That's hard work. You do it yourself. You don't buy everything, but you do it more yourself, hands-on. And then also PR is more like work. PR is work, and it's not like buying it usually. So it's more like you think about your story, you think about everything, and then I think it's more like putting work into it and not buying it, and focus on community. And then like it's MVP is like people have done that for apps, for websites, for everything, and blockchain is no different than that. So yeah.
Yeah. Can you repeat the question, because you speak fast and.
I'm sorry for my English. I'm British. So.
Yes, it's why. Because when I speak with a British, I never understand. You have an accent, and you make no effort for the foreigners.
It's a French-British thing.
Je suis désolé, je ne peux pas français avec aisance, monsieur.
You speak a very good French.
Yeah, bien sûr. So, what is your... thank you. I've got a big fan right there. Thank you. So what is your number one tip for like free marketing? How are we going to get these users if we're not going to spend money?
I have one in mind that I do when I make the application for Facebook, but I will not say here. But the second one is to build confidence with your community, so to always speak with them and fit with what they expect from you. So you have to fix the first functionality that we need and deliver a project very easy to use that they will understand at the first time. So if you make the project that is complicated to understand with a lot of functionality, they will never understand. But if you have one value proposition, they will get into it, they can explain it to everybody. So I think that this tip it's a good one to say here. So find one functionality, one thing, and you deliver. If you make one burger, do the best burger. But don't explain that you have a big menu. It's difficult to choose.
Oui, votre anglais c'est très bon, monsieur. And what is your number one?
I'll leave you with two things. Go to Google and type in, do I need a blockchain? And follow a flowchart. 99% of the time you won't need a blockchain, so there you go. And then number two, if you do need a blockchain, MVP. Like actually ship a product the users use. It's very difficult, right? But ship it. Find some good engineers, developers, ship the product. Even if you have 5 people, who cares? It's 5 people or 10 people. Build on top of that. Get some feedback from them and slowly build. And that's how good companies are formed.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I want to open this up to audience questions. Now, we have a very soft cube that we're going to throw at your face. Please catch it with your hands. Don't catch it with your face. Where is the cube, please? It is right here. Super. We have a gentleman right here. The big lumpy bit on the top.
Yeah.
Speak straight into that.
Sure, just a couple of questions. What do you guys think about airdrop as a marketing technique for ICOs? And then secondly, does the marketing to retail investors even matter that much since more and more ICOs are really getting funded in the private, pre-sale venue.
Anyone have a strong opinion on airdrop?
Well, for the airdrops, currently, I call it by one word, spam. There's a million of them every day. I never check my wallet or my addresses. I don't care. No one cares. It used to be okay, and I think the whole idea of carpet bombing is ridiculous. Not to mention all different issues with gas fees and claiming the addresses and et cetera, et cetera. As your point for investors, it all depends on what is the token economics, what's the use case of your token, the legalities of it, is an actual business model for it, is it a foundation versus private, is it a decentralized app versus private app, et cetera, et cetera. And so the majority of reasons why everyone's going private right now is one simple reason, legal. That's it. They're keeping it safe. So if the SEC does come out, or whatever global board comes out and says, hey, it's illegal, which for the most part, I think the SEC will come out and say majority of these tokens are securities, then investors and also founders are just trying to protect themselves.
Yeah, I think it's shifting to the pre-sale definitely, and regulations. If they come, then everyone will have to do the pre-sales. It will be all about pre-sales. And in general, if you need more people to basically bring your message out there, like kind of users, more community. If the community itself is important for your product, then I think it definitely helps. But if not, then it's like not that important for you to do like the main sale where you bring in 30,000 people and then have those people in your Telegram group, and then you also have, of course, to answer all the questions. It's a lot of work, of course, for you, but it depends.
Yeah, it was a similar point. It really depends on your product. So if you've got, I suppose, an enterprise-to-enterprise blockchain solution, then you don't need so many users to actually use your product. You predominantly need businesses to use your product. So therefore, you're much better off investing your time, energy, and resources on a private sale. But if your blockchain solution is something that is more for the end consumer, as in the wider public, then absolutely, definitely use that as marketing. Because not only will you get investment from them, which means that, again, that whole concept, they'll use it, they'll tell other people to use it because they're invested in it, but also it starts your marketing process in terms of your spread in terms of marketing campaigns. So it does depend on whether you're enterprise or you're going for the end consumer.
Excellent, thank you very much. Wonderful question, thank you. Now, for a British person, I'm strangely German and I like to be incredibly efficient and bang on time. So we don't unfortunately have time for another question on this particular panel, but I'm sure you can find us all online and ask us questions on various social networks. If you're a Snapchat user, please use that. It will increase their share price. They need that from you right now. But for now, thank you to our amazing panel. Please give them all a warm round of applause. And thank you to all of you. You got through day one. We've really only just started. I'm sure there is very, very much alcohol ahead. Please drink responsibly. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
So, thank you, Stuart. Thank you. Thank you. And all of the speakers. So we are finished now. And if you want to make a party, you can go to the Griesmühle Sonnenallee 221 and follow the arrows. So I hope we see us tomorrow. And have a good night, have a good time here in Berlin. And my name is Ben Mai. See you. Bye-bye. Thanks. Bye. Thanks.